But I was doing Bible studies, and my brother was 11 years older than me, so I was about 8, and he was about 19. And he came in, and he looked, and he said, "Why do you believe in God then?" And my mum went, "Bob." And I knew she was hiding something.
Oh.
And I thought, "Oh, what's that?" And I thought, yeah. And then I started thinking about all the things I'd been taught versus all the things in science I'd been taught. And I thought, oh, yes, of course. It's just like Santa.
Wow. That one time Christians got humbled by Ricky Gervais. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be reviewing Ricky Gervais doing some kind of stand-up, but clearly we all know how he can really take jabs and point out critical thinking. Let's hear what Ricky has to say.
Atheist since I was about 8 or 9. And when I went to secondary school, by then I knew about natural selection, the Big Bang Theory, carbon dating, and the Earth was 4 billion years old. And so my poor RE teacher, I was the bane of his life. And looking back, he was a bit thick. Right? He was one of those teachers I thought, oh, fuck it, I'll just keep my head down. You know what I mean? He came in on a motorbike and played table tennis all day with the div kids just to keep, you know what I mean? You know the sort, don't you? And he hated me. He hated me because I was smart and I wouldn't let him get away with any bollocks, right? So when he said things like, and God made the heaven and the earth in 6 days, and the earth is 5,000 years old. No, it isn't. No, it's 4 billion years old. Why? How could he do that? God can do anything. Well, why did he do it in 6? Why did he do it in 5? Let's push him a little bit. And he was saying that everything that happens, God does. He's done everything. Everything that happens, he means to happen. He's on top of it. He's everywhere. And everything he does is good. And I went, well, that's clearly not true either. Why are newborn babies taken from their parents? They're innocent. Why are some people born into abject poverty? And he went, because God moves in mysterious ways. That is the theological equivalent of going, look over there. Ooh. It's not an answer, is it?
No.
We swear on the Bible in a court of law still. And if the judge was to say to you, how do you account for the fact you say you're home asleep at midnight, but we found your DNA at the scene of the crime? And you went, I move in mysterious ways. Good night, it won't wash.
God.
This is how stupid this teacher was. A kid asked him, said, sir, why do we swear on the Bible in a court of law? Clearly, the answer is, if you believe in God, if that's your God, you believe in him, you believe he's watching you, you get a guilt trip, you don't lie. He hadn't worked that out. So thinking on his feet, he said, because every law of the land is mentioned in the Bible. I went, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. He went, no, it is. Somewhere in the Bible, every law of this land is mentioned. I went, what, even video piracy, you One critic, who I know is religious, said, oh, Gervais deconstructs the Bible. That's too easy. I'm thinking, well, it shouldn't be. If you believe in that, you think it's a serious doctrine, it shouldn't be too easy to deconstruct. You can't do it with a maths book. You can't look through a book and go, listen to this. Listen, go, oh, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. What cunt wrote that? He said that God is everywhere and in everything. He's solidly through the universe. And I came prepared. I thought, this will end it. I came in like a little smart ass and went, sir, is God in a vacuum which has been scientifically proved to have nothing in it? He went, yep. That's it. I thought, well, I can't win then. So I started saying, is he up my arse? Is he up your arse? The clever stuff hadn't worked. I was going, sir, is God up all our arses? Including Richard Gere's. It must be crowded up there, mustn't it? The New Testament is founded on the belief that Jesus is half man, half God, born of a virgin womb. And I think that particular little rumour came about with Mary on the back foot. Awkward questions about the old pregnancy from Joseph. You're pregnant? You haven't been... No way.
At least kicking his feet. No way.
Well, how could this have happened then? 2 ways. One... I know. Remember when I was washing in the Sea of Galilee? and I splashed up some spunky water. No, not spunky water. What about the baby is half God? And everyone went, yeah, right. But everyone's entitled to their opinion. And if you believe in God, you're wrong. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. Some people don't want to know because it doesn't fit with their...
Well, that's one of my big problems with much of organized religion, or some of I have a lot of different problems with it, but one is this notion that you don't want your kids to know how the world really works for fear that they'll lose their faith. We don't want to teach them. We don't want them to learn anything because they might change their faith.
But then there's another level of why as well, because they think that losing the faith is equated with badness.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and some people genuinely believe that you won't go to heaven if you don't believe. So they think they're doing a good thing. I'm saving my child from hell.
Yeah. Well, I think when people do. Most of the times when people do bad things, they're actually thinking they're doing a good thing. They have a rationalization for it. I mean, the extreme is the parents who don't let their kids get blood transfusions for religion. I mean, they're not trying to kill their kids. They think they're doing the right thing. And that's the problem,
I mean, that's one of my favorite forms of evolution. People who refuse.
Yeah. Natural selection. The Darwin Awards. Yeah, exactly. As long as they refuse.
Not for their kids, obviously. That's the shame that that is child abuse.
Well, we want them to. We want them to refuse before they have kids.
Well, exactly. We want them to refuse for themselves as an adult.
Yeah. We want to make sure they don't reproduce. But that's part of the problem. I've talked to someone else we've talked to, Noam Chomsky, and he used to say that with me that he didn't care what people believe; it's what they do that matters. But the problem is what you believe affects what you do. So when you have these crazy beliefs, like I'm doing you a favor by not allowing you to have a transfusion, I ultimately do silly things, and so that's the reason. Yeah. It seems to me that's the reason to be grounded in reality at some level, because you don't do silly things.
Of course, yeah, but he's right as well. If people just believe silly things, it's not a problem. It's when they act on them.
Yeah, but we all...
I've never had a problem with spirituality or people believing in any god or whatever, or witches and warlocks. Yeah. But if they start infringing on my rights to play out their fantasies, then that's when I've got a say in it.
Yeah, but I know, I agree. But I guess my problem is that no one's an island. I mean, so inevitably, if you have these crazy beliefs, you have kids or you have neighbors, and you impact on others. And so at some level
but we should say that most religious people are normal. They just happen to believe in God and we think they're wrong. I've often said if nice religious people, normal religious people,
Church of England types.
They know the bits to ignore in the Bible and
They pick and choose.
So they don't need the Bible. If you know the bad bits from the good bits.
I think most of them don't even know the Bible. Most of them. The good religious people typically don't really know the material. It's sometimes you get them that know it, but the really good ones tend to not be overly theological because they're just going based off of the latest, greatest ethical progress we've made.
Don't need it.
Yeah.
And we that's what we call extremists and fundamentalists. They're the people who believe the bad bits in their holy book as well.
Yeah, they don't realize that if you took if you took the Old Testament literally, it's a horrible thing, and people complain about Islam and Muslim, but if you took the Old Testament and stoning, but people always pick and choose what they want to. There was a survey done.
People choose their own religion.
Yeah.
If they don't like a bit in their religion, they modify it, and it's a new church.
And exactly.
This one can drink and eat bacon. That's my religion.
Yeah.
This is my religion. Yeah, exactly. Also, not so much nowadays, but there's modern sects popping up all over. But the ancient ones were definitely made by the people in charge to better themselves, just like politicians today stitch up what's right and wrong.
Yeah.
It's you create your morality. If you're in charge, you create morality that's right for you.
Yeah,
exactly.
And make sure everyone else does
it. Of course, yeah.
But that's why a lot of people think scribes, like the priestly scribes, constructed the material of the Bible because it has a lot that's kind of pro-priest.
It's there was an interesting survey done in the UK, which was asking people in the census. One of the good things about the census was for the first time, I think almost 50% of the people said they didn't have a religion or they weren't members of the Church of England. And they asked people why. Why do you say you're Christian? Do you believe in transubstantiation or the Virgin? And people would say no. And they'd say, well, why? And they'd say, I like to think of myself as a good person.
Yeah.
So for most people, being religious just means you know, they've co-opted morality.
And it's a shortcut, and that's why they pass it on to their kids, because they think they're, you know, I've said before, you know, my mum was mildly religious. Again, C of E religious.
Yeah.
Go to church, and you're a good person, you're a respectable person. And usually, you know, for a working class mum, Jesus is an unpaid babysitter.
Yeah.
If I can't watch you, he can, and you take that for a while, and it's fine. And I don't think it's particularly harmful outside academia. But then you realise that it's just not true. Even if you look at the stats of religious people in prisons to atheists, but you know, it doesn't add up. You know, and morality predates all religion. You know, we got on before we had to make the rules.
Mankind.
I think if there's one thing I would love to be able to get across to people, is that morality is, in principle, ultimately is something we develop, and we tune our religion to fit the morality we have. I mean, the notion. I mean, we don't need to believe in God to be good. Obviously.
No,
and I'm actually.
I think even religious people believe that.
Yeah.
I think they know that.
But you know, so there's a friend of mine, a physicist, Steve Weinberg, who won the Nobel Prize, but he's an atheist, and he said, I'll paraphrase him, but he said, so there are good people and bad people. Good people do good things, bad people do bad things. When good people do bad things, it's religion. It's interesting because you can motivate yourself because of a belief that somehow there's a divine right to do something.
Well, of course,
you know, you're burning people or you know, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's not always the case, but it certainly can motivate you to do bad things and justify it because of how you're told. Because you know, that's the purest form of brainwashing.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, your brain's a sponge, and your parents tell you, don't go near the fire, don't go near the spider, don't go near the thing. If you do that, you'll go to hell. What? And if it's laid down, you know, and they know equated to all those other things that are true and observable, and you know, you shouldn't go near a lion and all that sort of stuff. And if you're never, you know, when you're 8 years old and you say, is there really a Santa? Your parents go, no, don't tell your little sister. But they don't do that with God sometimes.
Yeah, it's really...
That's because they don't know usually. And that indoctrination is the sad part. Unlearning that,
they think it'd be bad for you to be an atheist in society. And in some places it is.
Yeah, it's
a rule of survival.
Yeah. I mean, in spite of the problems, we're just lucky we can even have this conversation.
Of course.
For most of human history, we couldn't have even had this conversation and walked out of the room alive.
It's my only thing I can hold on to, that I'm oppressed.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, it's
there's 13 countries I can't even visit.
Only 13.
I'm oppressed.
Yeah, there you go. Well, okay. Well, it's nice. We all got to feel like victims.
Luckily, I don't want to go there anyway.
Yeah, that's probably.
They're the 13 countries I don't want to go to. So it's worked out really well.
Did they have Netflix in those countries? Or no?
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, you know, but it's interesting, and I've said this, and you know that. In some sense, teaching religion to kids is child abuse, because, and I just learned a quote the other day from the Archbishop of Canterbury, who said, "Educating children is like engraving in stone," and that it's really hard to outgrow because the kids aren't. I mean,
the Bible gives you that, right? Raise a child in the way he must go, and he'll never depart from it when he gets old. That's indoctrinating them in certain ways, right? And you can do that in a good way, or you can do that in bad ways. And it's like, I think we're all trying to figure shit out as we go, you know?
Question is a deep question, ultimately. And a kid, you know...
It's not even that it works.
Yeah.
It's that you were given to it as truth when, you know...
Before you could think about things. And you learn it here, you know, rather than there. And it's, you know, and I remember it was actually Richard who alerted me to this. I never thought of that. There's a picture in the paper it showed at Christmas time of 4 little kids, and it's really sweet. It says a Muslim kid and a Jewish kid and a Catholic kid and a Protestant kid, and they're all playing together. And you say, hold on a second, a 3-year-old. It's like that's not Catholic kid. That's a 3-year-old. It's like saying it's a neoliberal kid, a deconstructionist kid, and we label them, and that becomes their reality.
Faith schools and exactly.
So you were as far as I was reading, you were 8. You went to church till you were 8, and then do you make a decision not to go at that point?
No, I still went. I went because I got paid for being in the choir until I was about 14. I just kept it quiet that I was an atheist. Okay. I'll take the money.
Mm-hmm. Sure, absolutely.
I'm not an idiot, but atheists got to earn.
Yeah, that's right. Atheists have to eat like everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and I remember the moment as well. I believed in God just because I thought everyone did, and that was it.
Yeah, sure. Me too.
And everyone around me said things like, "It was on the telly everywhere. It was God. Of course, there was a God. It made it all brilliant." Right? I was still I knew about evolution and all those things. And, I just thought he just started it. He did it. Fine.
Yeah, sure.
There was no real. There was no
cognitive dissonance.
No, exactly. Yeah. So, and I think I liked Jesus more, because he was a bit of a superhero. I liked him because he was kind, and he
he could walk on water,
and he did things. He helped people. I thought it's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. In fact, I liked him more. I liked his human half more than his God half. I don't know the rules, so I don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah. You don't?
No. But I was doing Bible studies, and my brother was 11 years older than me, so I was about 8, and he was about 19. And he came in, and he looked, and he said, "Why do you believe in God then?" And my mum went, "Bob," and I knew she was hiding something.
Oh.
And I thought, "Oh, what's that?" And I thought, "Yeah." And then I started thinking about all the things I'd been taught versus all the things in science I'd been taught, and I thought, "Oh, yes, of course." It's just like Santa.
Wow. So the way he kind of discovered that is the way, parents like me and my wife, we hid Santa Claus till our kids got older and then told them. But God was the same way. And it sounds like there's some inside baseball talk happening between the family.
Yeah. I mean, so you had the moment. For me, it was just kind of I'd like to believe, and then I just started. The stories started seem a little wilder and wilder, and it was like Santa. Eventually, it seemed like it was unlikely to be true. It wasn't a cathartic moment. It wasn't an epiphany for me. It was just sort of a
no.
But you had an older brother that had that influence.
Yeah. So he
did. Your mom was your mom. When did you come out to your mother?
I think it was just easier then. I don't think I did. I didn't particularly talk about it because it just wasn't talked about. It wasn't a big deal. You went to church because it was the center of the community.
I was a cultural Jew, and my mom the same. It's the same thing.
Exactly. It's not. It's everyone's a bit lax. It's everyone I know had to find a church to get married in.
Yeah.
Because they hadn't.
I'd like to say that my search for religion ended when I found someone who would marry us. And my wife is Catholic.
It wasn't religion. It was a club.
Yeah.
It was like a club that you had to get through to get married and out of a christening, and it was a social occasion. It wasn't. No one really thought. I mean, some people did, but and I think that more and more, if you ask people what they really believe in, people have found this thinking that agnosticism is a polite term.
Yeah.
And I try and explain they're not mutually exclusive. One deals with knowledge, one deals with belief.
Yeah. So in fact, I just edited an old book about atheism, and this guy said, atheism is unscientific, which is, but agnosticism isn't. But the point is, I hadn't appreciated till I read this particular book, and I wrote a foreword for it, that agnosticism is atheism, because agnosticism is just saying the evidence doesn't convince me. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not. It's not sufficient to make me believe.
I don't believe.
Yeah, and that's a form of atheism.
And faith people saying I don't know, but I believe anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I think the mistake comes when people say that atheism is unscientific, is because they think atheism means I know there's no God.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to I don't believe in any of your gods so far.
Yeah.
But convince me. I get tweets.
But you also don't hold your breath for unicorns, leprechauns, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess it's a silly thing to be sitting there. They almost have this anticipation like you shouldn't be so closed-minded,
If they proved God existed, would you believe then? I go, of course I would.
Yeah.
And it would be the greatest scientific discovery ever.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Everything else, forget everything else. Don't give the prize anymore. Don't give that's the one. That's it. It's done.
Yeah, it's done.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I would say,
exactly. Yeah.
I would say, people say, what would it take? I said, tonight the stars realigned.
Yeah.
And said, I'm here. It didn't have to be in English. It could be in Aramaic, you know, whatever.
Ironically, atheists would all believe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But all the other religions wouldn't, because it'd be the wrong God.
Yeah, exactly. The wrong God. Exactly. No. That's just, yeah, exactly. It's like NASA. We never landed on the moon. It's really fake. They did that just to do that. You know, so your mom has always been fine then with, I mean, I guess she had to tolerate you because she just hoped that we didn't get killed in a barroom fight and did okay. Yeah. And it was all about the kids, just be nice and don't die. That was it. Be nice and don't die. That's a great thing.
That was it. And so they use anything.
Well, it worked on you.
They use anything.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's the same here, but there was a study done of about 2,000 adults of and atheists were just the word less trusted than anyone except for rapists.
I think it was joint bottom with rapists in America, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was and it was just sort of sad. It's that notion of that.
It makes me laugh that they think atheism is extremism because you don't believe in any God.
Yeah.
Whereas believe in one.
Yeah, exactly.
Choose one. Yeah. Don't be an extremist.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, what you said in the Unbelievers, the things you said, I thought were one of the best things we got. But it was exactly that. As you said, it's just one extra God I don't believe in. As you pointed out,
exactly.
And
ladies and gentlemen, Ricky Gervais. I love listening to this guy. He's just kind of a normal dude, shooting it from the hip, explaining why he is the way he is and why he thinks the way he thinks. And I can relate to that. Do you relate to that? What are your thoughts about this conversation that he had today? Again, drop a subscribe and hit that bell button so you're notified every time I do another review. Let me know in the comment sections your thoughts and like the video. Share it out there. And until next time, see you then.